Did you guys enjoy how the Flash had their version of Flashpoint?
Uh,
I thought for what it was on TV, it was rushed, but that's TV.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
But there's things I enjoyed about it. They touched on some main points.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. Uh, Again, I'm not knocking what they were able to do with the TV show. Could they have done more? I don't know. I just think with the TV show, the Flash is one of those, because it's an episodic, because it's a week to week show.
Yep. Yep.
It's kind of hard where, you know, having a Reverse Flash this episode, having Mirror Master this episode, it's hard to have new characters each episode. So they have to stretch out these storylines to these full season of we're focusing on Zoom or we're focusing on Reverse Flash, because there's no, or Savitar, or
Instead of just being like the villain of the week, basically.
yeah, because they'd go through all of Flash's his rogues in a matter of week in one season. So what they did with Flashpoint, they kind of stretched it out. They introduced Earth 2, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They introduced Earth 2, and once they did that, it opened up the world of the multiverse, which allowed for them to acknowledge the cinematic universe at least exists within the TV universe.
If you ever want to test, confirm your comic book knowledge, watch a comic book show with somebody who doesn't know nothing. Like I am currently watching the Flash with a friend of mine, and she knows nothing about the Flash, knows nothing about comics.
Really?
Haven't really seen any of the comic book movies, and we're on episode 5 of the Flash, and I've had to answer like so many questions, and like she'll be like, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, well, it's just comic book logic, go with it,
Yeah,
it's DC logic.
there you go. Even better,
because there's because I watch it with my wife and the manager, and it's one of those things of trying to explain Superman and how no one can the whole Clark Kent Superman, and no one can tell the difference.
Well, that was her thing with how does Iris not know that that's Barry? And like,
yeah.
Right.
yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like that Jimmy Kimmel skit with
the Batman.
Yes,
Yeah, I love
Batman
that.
and the Batman versus Superman one.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, you're Superman. You're Batman." Yeah, but that's DC. That's DC for you.
Oh, no.
And no one, it's hard to explain that to a non-fan that it's acceptable because it's DC. Because
the second you put on a mask, no matter how much of the face it hides, no one knows who you are. That's just how it is.
That's it.
But it's like the X-Men did it too. Wolverine pulls his cowl over his head. Mm-hmm. Cyclops wears that stupid visor.
Yeah.
So I mean, and
I'll be right back.
It's one of those things of where they're still the same.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's the world of DC, and I know what you're talking about, because when we started watching The Flash, we started at the very beginning, and it was just like I had to explain stuff, and then it's like but I have to explain that this is kind of different than what happened in the comic book,
right?
And so that's always the fun part, because now you're really aging yourself of what happened in the comic, and oh wait, it's Zoom, but he's also not Zoom.
Right. And then she's getting ahead of herself, and I'm like trying not to spoil things, because she's like, well, how is the Flash they're like because that how they keep showing how there's a point where and I think it's episode 3 where Reverse Flash and Flash are fighting, and the message goes on there telling Iris to stop reporting on the Flash or whatever. And she goes, But that's not Barry, is it? I'm like, oh, it is, and it's not. It is. But
It's
that's
hard
not
to
the Barry,
explain.
that's not the Barry
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
time remnants.
that's you're right. And trying to explain that to somebody who
Who doesn't know squat about comic book and
Listen,
shows?
just watch Green Lantern with her.
oh
Oh
I
no,
couldn't, like,
no,
get through
no,
that
no!
movie.
Just watch Green Lantern, and then she'll appreciate everything else from DC.